What do Joe Cocker, George Michael, Glenn Campbell and Bon Jovi all have in common? They've all sung about faith. The dictionary describes faith as complete trust or confidence in someone or something. We can see from a quick Google search that faith means a lot to us as a society, whether the focus of it is religious or secular. It is foundational to us. We have to have it in order to have fulfilled life. And the type of life we lead depends on where we place our faith, be it in God or man. Let's look at Matthew chapter 8 verses 23 to 27. Jesus calms the storm. Then he got into the boat and his disciples followed him. Suddenly a furious storm came upon the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." He replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him." The thing that struck me most here is the disciples' lack of faith. Verse 23 says they followed him. They obviously had enough faith in Jesus to follow when things were okay, but while Jesus was taking a nap, a violent storm suddenly started. The disciples panicked and woke Jesus, begging him to save them. Does that sound familiar? How often have we been ticking along nicely in our walk with God, but then a storm arrives in our lives and we are suddenly fearful and we panic and try desperately to solve the situation ourselves. And then, when nothing we do solves the situation, we turn desperately to God, asking him to save us. But when we find ourselves in such situations, we should start with God. He should be our first port of call, not the last. Do you think Jesus was right to rebuke the disciples on that boat for their lack of faith? Does that resonate with how you might feel in a similar situation? Putting our trust in God is hard sometimes, but why? When I have difficulties in my life, I ask God to move in my situation, but sometimes I've caught myself also trying to solve an issue in my own strength. We all do it. The important thing is to recognize when this is happening, to repent of it, and lay it back down at the foot of the cross, to recommit the problem, the struggle, the worry, whatever it may be, back to God, and to remember all the times when God has come through for us in previous situations. It may seem hard to trust that God is in control at the moment, with all the chaos surrounding us and no obvious end in sight. But allow me to encourage you to keep pressing into and leaning on God, especially in the hard times. We are all completely loved by him, and he wants to help us, journey with us, and guide us. As it says in Matthew 11:28 to 30, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." As we face the storm we are all in right now, let's remember Jesus is right there with us, in the boat, in our lives, and we have no need to fear. Just have faith that he is in control. Amen.